All right. Unfortunately, Matt Walsh has demonstrated the actual impact of spreading hatred on the internet. He posted on Twitter a few tweets this week about transgender healthcare that had some consequences. Let's look at this first tweet. He is promoting a podcast episode, and he says, "We investigated our local hospital's gender butchery clinic. Here's what we found, episode 1025." And he posts the link to the podcast. And then he says, "I provided video evidence that Vanderbilt, that's the hospital, is performing gender-affirming double mastectomies on minors, a fact beyond dispute. They are also giving chemical castration drugs and irreversible hormones to children, another fact beyond dispute and supported by documentation." Marjorie Taylor Greene jumped in with a pretty big tweet saying ESG and wokeness are killing the Democrats, but the left's trans kid agenda is the nail in their coffin. Parents will protect their children with their lives and will ditch a political party in a heartbeat when that party comes after their kids. Remember, Virginia. And so these actions, which were really just thumbs moving on a phone screen to post these tweets, had consequences. So reporting from Vice News, one day after notorious right-wing figure Matt Walsh tweeted about a Tennessee clinic that provides critical care for trans patients, the hospital removed several pages about that care from its site, an outcome that risks making it even more difficult for trans people to access health care. And shortly after Matt Walsh posted this tweet with a link, "I'm begging left-wingers to get another hobby besides castrating children." After this, the Vanderbilt Clinic for Transgender Health at Vanderbilt University website was taken down. A 404, "This page cannot be found" error in its place. A quote from Ari Drennan, "Many of these hospitals treat patients who live many hours away. It can be hard to find hospitals who provide good treatment options, so it's very important for information about procedures that are offered to be accessible, so potential patients who are considering those procedures and for whom those procedures are medically necessary." And it's important to say that it's not just Vanderbilt, it's other hospitals as well. This happened in Ohio this week. Akron Children's Hospital in Ohio removed information about trans care from its site, including information about healthcare providers shortly after being targeted. In-person support group meetings for trans youth were canceled at Lurie Children's Hospital of Chicago because of security risks. So is this freedom? Is what the right is fighting for really worthwhile? I don't think so. They are hating on such a small population of people in the country. You know, people should be allowed to live their lives however they want to. That's their personal freedom of choice. And they're deciding to make our political discourse about people who make up 0.5% of the population. So here's a statistic from UCLA Williams Institute. Among US adults, 0.5%, about 1.3 million adults identify as transgender. Among youth ages 13 to 17 in the US, 1.4%, so about 300,000 youth identify as transgender. And Matt is making this the whole body of his political discourse right now. Look at his Twitter header. This is his profile on Twitter. His background is, "What is a woman?" And if you look at his bio, he identifies as a theocratic fascist. That is an accurate description of who he is as a person. Jank, what do you make of Mr. Walsh?
Okay, look, guys, get a sense of how